Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. Back on Crusty. This one here, we're doing the rear floor pans. I had to make these floor pans in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 pieces per each side. I got 2 of them made now. I got the beads in them. They fit like a glove. Stick around. It's time for more floor work. In the last video, I made up these 2 front sections here, put beads in them, bent up a few flanges, put a section around the side here and installed them, made little tiny plates to go up here in the corner to cover in the roll cage. Now we got to move on to this section back here. There is a lot going on, okay? This section back here, I don't know how much of this we're going to get done in this video, but I'm going to plug through it and do as much as I possibly can. What is going on here is the seat risers, they call them, but these are droppers. The seat goes back and drops, so the floor drops down into the car. It goes back and drops down. Now the problem with it is I need to get in here, and you can see how much that's dropped. I need to turn around and come back, drop down, come back this way here, find somewhere to end down here. Now the problem I got back here is that I got this roll cage, or the chassis rail that comes down here. My plan with it is to run a piece straight across from there to there on the roll cage, come up and then turn up here on a 90 and just end the flange there, and I'll have this section come down, but I'll do this section first. So I looked at doing the floor first and going and hooking it onto the frame rail there. But then when I put this piece down on top, I'm going to have a pocket right here that will fill up with dirt. So I got to leave this section here open. I can step into this here, but the bar itself, the roll cage sticks out past it. Set up here so you can see it. See, the roll cage sticks out past this section of the floor here. This sticks out past this here. And the easiest thing to do would be just to turn around and come straight down, okay? So I got to make a piece for across here. Then I got to make 2 drop sections of the floors. Then I got to make 2 sections that go from the drive shaft tunnel out and down, there on both sides. And then I got to make another section from here that goes out and goes down. And then I got to join it all in here in this back corner. So I'm going to have to make a piece to come down here and kick out as well. So I'm probably going to incorporate that into the big piece going across here and have that come across there and weld on across there. I can't go back too far because I got to build a box so I can make this adjustable. I want to be able to get the bolt and everything out of the leaf spring. Like I said, I build everything to take it apart. So I got a lot of pieces to go. It may sound a bit crazy here now and you can't visualize what I'm doing, but you'll see it as it comes together. So I'm going to start off keeping things simple. I'm going to figure out my section of my floor and the height it's going to be here. I'm going to take a flat piece of steel now, bend it up, and get the shape there that I need, and just size up how I'm going to build this floor pan section here. And I think what I'm going to do first is build 2 front floor pans, have them a little bit long on the back side, and that way I can trim them up after. But the main thing is I got to make sure the seating area is right. So let's get a piece made up now that I can just make a little template, and I can turn around and have something that I can actually bend up some steel from. So I sat down, I dug out an old scrap piece of steel. I have a bunch of just kicking around. I hang on to all these strips just for this purpose, use them for templates. And I turn around and I bent it up. So follow the contours there. Come over, step down, went along that piece there, and I went to the back side. I decided I'm going to put a bend on the back end of it to come up, but you can see here now, like when I bring this over to here, it touches the roll cage right there, okay? But I didn't, coming off here, it's hard to see, but when I set that up there, you can see that's a ways from that there, and it touches it there. And this is the problem we're going to run into, is that spot back there. So I figured I'll bend up a flange on the back of the floor pan. That way I can avoid having the flange bent underneath, right? So what I did then is I sized up the other side. Both of them were pretty well the same, small few tweaks, but nothing serious. And then I measured them up. That piece there is 20 inches wide. And then I measured from here, because I figured I'm going to have to go from here. Okay, all the way over to the roll cage on the back side here, like that. And I measured that up to be 16 inches. So I'm going to go out and cut out 2 pieces, 16 inches long by 20 inches. Okay, I got into myself and I got ahead of myself again. I went ahead and I cut 2 pieces out, 16 by 20. One there and one here. Then I went over and I had to give it a quick test fit, sized it all up. I took my template right here and I went and I marked my lines where my bends got to be, okay? I got them marked out there using this here, like so. And down here on this end here, that's marked out. Then what I did is I laid it in place, put a bit of weight in it, made sure I liked where it fit. And I got this here as a nice clean straight edge. I made sure that was parallel to the inside rail because it's different than the outside edge. Because of the way the rocker panel tapers back. So I'm basing everything off the back side and up here in front. I lined this up with the front panel and I lined this up with the rocker panel. I put some weight on it. Then I marked the 4 holes here where the seats go, drill holes in it, then I bolted it down. Then when I bolted it down, I got underneath it and I marked where all the mounts are to, the cross bracings, all that, where all that was to. Then I sat down and started figuring out what I wanted in the way of beads. So I figured out just making it simple, same beads like on the front. Put one here, one here. There's a cross brace here. I'm going to put one back here on the back side of it. What I'm doing here, I'm going to put 2 drain plugs because this is the lowest point in the floor. It just gives it a little, I don't know, gives it a little bit of more look that I got 2 plugs in the floor. I'll drill these out later on and I'll put 2 plugs in both of them. So just in case, like, the chances of that being watertight are slim and none. Hopefully it is. But if it ever has a water leak and the floors or anything gets wet or anything like that in it, I can drain it from here. But still in all, I've seen it all factory floor pans usually got a drain hole in it somewhere, so I'm just putting it in. Okay. So I got this done here now. What I got to do is I got to transfer this over onto this one here, make sure that's fitting good. And do the same thing all over again. The reason why I'm going about this route here now is I got to put a bead across here. Got to put bends in it. But my bead roller is already set up for these beads here. So I want to put them in it first. Because the bead roller is still in it from the last time. But I want to put a step bead across the front of these here. I don't want to go changing these out here and have to change them back. So that is my plan. And I want to get all my beads done before I put my bends in it this time. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to transfer all this over onto this one here. So I got a second one ready. I'm going to test fit this one on the passenger side, make sure that it works okay. And what I'll do then is I'll start doing all these beads here. So I went ahead, transferred all the measurements from this one, flipped it over and put them onto this one here. So everything is mirrored an image of each other. I never drill the holes. I'm going to drill them after I put this in place because I think the 2 front holes on this seat here are a little tiny bit off compared to this side here. Strange. So I'm going to go over now and get some beads put in this section here. Now this side's the tricky side, because it brings up on the inside. Guess what? My throat is not deep enough. But I manage. I'll manage. You make do. That's perfect. So as I got them done, same as before, same depth and everything. Up here when I was cutting this one here out, it's kind of hard to get that in the light. There you go, there it is in the light there. Okay, on one side when I got in there, what was happening was, let me show you. This was hitting right there, look, is what I was doing. Just barely hitting, but I managed to walk it through it to get it through, to actually get it done. It was just like at our limits to get it done. So, like, you know, one has a sort of a little roll off one side, but I'm not worried about that now, mind you. How to get these? I got the other one done as well. It's over here. That one's all done. Same issue. You can probably see it better on this one. Where's the spot? Right there. Look. You can see right here it comes in around and it just goes wide a bit. And but that's mine. I shouldn't even be pointing that stuff out to you. Okay, I want to get these all prepped and get them ready now to get the one last bead put in them. I'm going to go ahead now and put these, I changed the dies over a step a bit played around and done a little sample first. Make sure I was happy with it. And so now I'm set up for it. I'm going to go ahead and just put them 2 steps in them now, have them done. Got the fence put there and it's going to ride along the fence. One. The other step. Now I'm going to put the bends in this now. There you have 2 of the pans laid in place. You see now how they fit in the back here. And you can look behind them, it lines up the rail and goes across that way. There's a bit of a gap over here, because I got to put the top piece on. There's a bit of a gap over here. I'm going to have to put the piece on as well. It's come up above the pipe, and you can see now the way it's shaped. The way it goes down the frame rail on the back. Same with the one on the other side. You can see we're going to have my little drain plugs in the back. I'll drill 2 holes, one there and another one over there, and do the same thing on the other side. Right. You can see the angle, the way it steps down in the front and overlaps across the front. I got the little lip on it. If you look at it, goes across the front there. That'll spot well on there. So I got 2 of them made, 2 of them fit in place. I'm going to put a couple of bolts in them so they're bolted down, so they don't move around on me. And I'm going to drill holes in that one over there and bolt that one down as well. And what I got to start building now are these side pieces. So I'm going to sit down now and see what I come up with. So I went ahead and I drilled out this side here. And then what I did is I bolted them down. I bolted the floor pans in place so I knew the positions never moved. What I did then is I went in here and I measured up. And I measured in. And what I did, measuring in, I measured in from this point here, from here. That'll give me the width here. This will give me my depth. This changes as it goes up here. I'm not worried about that right now. This is the deepest point. So I'm going to measure up to there, into there, and then add an inch. One other thing that I did is because the way the floor pan went straight back, it's hard to see here. You can probably see it better than the other one there. But I went and bent it a small bit across here and leveled off this bottom section. Where this is the lowest point in the floor pan, this would have tipped back. The back corner would have been the lowest point. So I tipped it up a small bit, so this now is the lowest point. So if there's any issues or any water or whatever, I can always drain it that way. I hope there's never water in this, but that's just something that I wanted to put in it. Just for the reason, just makes it look more factory. Anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I got a measurement from here back to here. And what I'm going to do is cut a piece of steel out, the size that I need here with the bottom. The bottom down here is a little more than 2 inches. And then this is 4.5 across here, and then 1 inch. So I'm going to go over, cut a piece out, that size. So I went ahead and I cut the piece out. It's pretty well a little bit too long, and it's pretty well the right width. No, it's too wide too as well, because the 2 inches that I measured on the side is about 1 3/4 inches. And all I need is 2 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep this, going to give it a quick sand and everything. Then I'm going to turn around and go over in the bead roller and put a step in one end of it. This is the side that's going to go up on the floor pan to match the front floor. So I want to put a matching bead along there. I want to put that in it first because when I start bending this all up, it's going to be hard to do later on. So I'll get this sanded and we'll get a bead put on it. So I got it sanded, and I got the little step relief put in it. Next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over and bend this. So I'm going to measure up 2 inches on this side here. I'm going to flip it upside down and make sure I got the right side on it, because this would be the front floor here, and this is where it turned down, and this will be the drive shaft loop over here. So over here is where I got to bend it 2 inches. So I got to bend it upwards. So I'm going to mark it up here 2 inches, mark it here 2 inches, and I'm going to bend it there. So I bent that up 2 inches. You can see it's not a really sharp roll. That's the way I wanted it to have. I never tightened it up too much. Just let it actually roll it a bit so it's got a turned edge on it. Now what I got to do now is I got to measure in here. Now when you're measuring this stuff in here, you measure from the outside here in because of the roll, okay? Because this is going to take, this rolled edge here is going to be part of your dimension inside here. So I'm going to measure from here into here, 4.5 inches, from here to here. And I'm going to bend that lip up this way here. But I'm going to do that manually because the way this is bent here now, that's a smaller bend. It won't bend properly in the vise because this will be in the way here in the brake. So I'm going to do that one by hand with the I-beam. So I'll make my measurement here now and get that bent. An notch below a half. So now that I got my bends put in, what I got to do here next is I want this to continue on across here. All this chassis rails, everything's in the way here, and this goes down. Now down the side here, there's 2 pieces of pipe that come in well to the frame rail. I'm going to have a notch for this here to clear it, okay? For it to clear it. But up here first, what I got to do is I got to get this corner cut out of it. So I'm going to cut down here, just come back from the bend, which is right here. And I'm going to cut this down here, all the way here. Then I'll come back this way here about 1/4 inch and cut a notch out of here, cut a section out of here. That will bring me back past this piece of flat bar where the chassis rail goes back here, and then I can actually start fitting it to go down behind it. I'm going to leave that there for now because I may have to cut it out this way a bit. If I just cut it off there now, I'll have a gap here. I'll cut that after the fact. Now I got to cut a section of this out of here to get that out of my way. Now back over again, I got the piece here in my hand. When you look down in here, you can see there's a piece of pipe there, and you come over here, there's another piece there. I got to notch out so that I can clear them 2 pieces of pipe. I'm going to lay this in place here now. Let it fall down in place, like so, and I'll mark these spots here for the bar. I'll go underneath the car and I'll mark them, and I'll notch them out so this can fall right down flush to the top of the frame rail. So I went ahead, notch the front of it, and notch the back of it, and I fit it in place here. What I need to do now is I need to put a bit of a step in it here for the overlap here, so this here will fit, it will relieve it a bit and bring it in this way a small bit. And I'm going to mark it here now by just moving it forward and backwards and trimming that off. So I'm going to go ahead now and step that back and trim that off as well. Other than that, everything else seems to be fitting. It's nice and level back here, and there's a nice snug fit all the way along there. Now to put the step in this, all I'm going to use is the vise. I need to move this section here this way, so I'm going to bring it down to where I want it to step back. Plant that in the vise there. I'm going to take my spoon, lay my spoon up against this edge here. And that puts a step right here for that to fall back with. Now I'll tidy that up a bit more, go over test fit again, then I'll mark and cut that off. So I turn around, I bent up, got the relief put in there, and you can see that I marked it, and you can see how nice of a tight gap I can get here now, right? You can see where the bend was originally that I bent it back, see? Your first thing is to go back to that cut and chop that right off, then I would have had to fill that in. I just marked it, trimmed it off. Now I got the clamped in place here, and I'm happy where it's to. What I'm going to do here now is take a marker, and mark this section down here. And I'll take it out now and I'll trim that section off, but I'll leave a little bit there. I'll leave the marker there and a little tiny bit there as well. I just want to get rid of the bulk of what's on the other side of it. I can grind it flush after the fact, but I want to get that there now finished up. So here's the shape. You can see coming down through here, and it kicks up again on the back side. You can see where the back floor goes level here now and it tapers up. I'm going to come down just below that there, leave a little bit of material. I'll leave the marker there. Plus I'll come down and leave a little bit white, and I'll just trim that right off along there. And that one there will be done. As you can see, I left a little bit of the white line there as well. So I got that done there now, so I might as well go over now and install that and see how it fits. So as you can see now, I got it all fit in there. Okay, up here at the front side here, this is a bit long here because I'm overlapping over here on this side here. Overlapping a small bit, so I'm going to have to trim off a bit of this going across here, which is no big deal, but I'll get this all put together. My whole plan is here now is I'm going to go ahead, and this will be cleaned up here, and I'm going to weld this in along here. All along here, up along here. I'll weld it in along here. I'm going to put a lip along here as well to go along here so I can actually weld it to the down panel when it goes in place. So I got that one done, and then I went ahead and made the other side. Same process. Pretty well the same thing. It was a small measurement difference, but it all fits in place. I measured up the distances here, and they're the same. So you can actually see now the way that's going to all fit together. Okay. I got my drop in the floors, and then it comes up and steps up to the frame rail again. I got spot for the drive shaft loop. Now that'll come right on up to here, the drive shaft loop, or tunnel itself. And that'll be a round tube going around that. But what I'm going to move on to next now is these outriggers out here. This section of the floor pan here. I'm going to dream up something for that, make something up for that, and get that side done. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 of these pieces, all one piece. So when I install this floor pan, it'll be one unit, and I'll have everything ground and dressed and looking right nice and everything. So I haven't got to worry about getting underneath the car to try to dress all this over here, okay? So I'm going to go ahead now and start making up this one here and see what I can come up with. Been looking at this here closely, sizing up a few things and realizing I'm going to take my own advice here. I have 2 panels here now, I need to make 1, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish these panels off, going to get them welded together on both sides and get them all dressed and everything so they are 1 panel, and then I'll move on from there. I've been seeing other things, and I think that when I start letting stuff go, everything's going to be moving around on me, and I'm going to get ahead of myself because I do have to build a piece for over here, a piece for back here, and a piece for back here. So there's a lot to be going on there, and I think that I should get this here finished and get all this 1 piece. So I'm going to prep both of these here and get these 2 welded together and finish them off so they're done. So, I've got them all welded up. I got both of them done. You can see them there welded in along there. And then I went outside and I welded it in down here. Then I grinded off this edge here and finished it all off. So there's a nice edge on it all the way along. Rolls out the back side here. I welded 2 of the panels together up here. And then I grinded off. And all I used in here was like a stone, grinding stone. You saw me, I showed you that. The old stone on the grinder. And then I had the small one there as well. Use that. And I used this one in the corners. That's the extent of it. So, no fancy tools. And, you know, if you look closely, you can still see some imperfections, but no, I'm not worried about that. It's welded on both sides, and it's got a nice setup to it. I went ahead then, cleaned up my edges, and I went and narrowed this one up, because this was over an overlap. I narrowed them up and got them all prepped and ready to go, and then I cleaned up my edges. No one noticed that yet, I wonder. I always talked about cleaning up your metal before you bends it over. I had a hard time cleaning them up, both of them. But I got them cleaned up. Now, the one last thing I want to do with this before I move on to anything else is this here is where the panel's going to spot weld on here, and it's going to spot weld on here. There's nothing in this area here for it to weld on to whatever's coming down behind it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of this here. I'm going to stand it up there, and I'm going to weld it on there, come over to about here somewhere, and weld it all on. And then this here strip then will continue on across this here and across here and go this way here. So this will have a corner in it, and then I can just spot weld it from there just to clean it up, make it look nice, right? Nothing fancy. So I'm just going to go ahead now, cut off a strip of this, strip the paint off it, lay it up in the corner there, weld it on. There you have that one there all done. Got the lip all the way around. You saw me, I just welded a large piece in there. Welded it on, it was too big. Then I trimmed it up. Then I welded on the inside here. And all I did is a stone in there and die grinder. That was it. All I used in there. Nothing fancy. Then welded the corner there. Now I got a spot that I can actually put spot welds on it. I went ahead then, I went prepped all around the edge of it. Got this all done. Went ahead then, got this one all done. Same thing. Up in the corner, put nice little round edges on them. Right? Cleaned that one up, did that same process. Cleaned up all my edges, trimmed off the front of that one. Got that prepped. Now for the next thing, 2 of the floor pans are now 1. Okay? That's a 1-piece unit. I'm willing to say, between both of these here, there's a good 2.5 hours gone into these here. Most of my time is in prep and grinding, okay? Doesn't take no time to weld things together. Takes forever to pretty stuff up, okay? I want to get this done like this here now. It's like, you know, so it's done. I haven't got to worry about it no more now. That section of floor pan is ready to be welded in, okay? Like I haven't got to do nothing else with that there other than probably give it a bit of sand and that's it. So what I need to do now is I got to build the other side, same process as this side. I'm going to weld it on the inside, get it all dressed, make it part of this panel here. So let's go over and put both of these in the car now and get ready to make the inside sections. Or the outside sections, the sections that goes to the rockers. So there I got two of them put in place and I'm bolted in, ready to go for the next stage. Well, that looks pretty good there now. On the back side there, the way it goes up around the back, the distance here across there is the same as the distance here, and they're parallel to each other across the back side there. So the piece will sort of slide right down behind that. And so now next thing I gotta do is come over here now and start building these sections here. So let's get started on them. Just a simple 90-degree bend, much the same as what I got done here. Just there's no flange on the end of it. And there's a bit of a difference out the back here. I'm gonna be a flange on the top side here, plus there's gonna be one on the side as well. So let's get them made now. So I got two of these done. Same as before, bent them on a 90, done my measurements, all that type of stuff. Then I ran a step bead around the side and up the front on these here. I cut the corners off, bent them flat, left them alone, trimmed it all up on the back side here. So fit, put it in place, marked it, and then trimmed it off so there's still a little bit hanging down underneath the bottom side of it. This one was a bit tricky because this here is a quarter of an, or is an eighth of an inch wider than this here is, and it's not on the right angle here, okay? Had a bit of math I had to do there to figure all that out, because this here I wanted to keep straight against the rocker, and what I did is, all it is, I just changed the angle up here, is all I did. So if you look at this here, this is not a 90-degree bend, right? A 90-degree angle here. This is off by an eighth of an inch. I cut an eighth of an inch off the bottom side here, which would turn this way. That will give me the angle that I wanted. So when I brought this over, it looks straight, okay? So I had to do that. This here is an eighth of an inch shorter than this end here. And also on the back side here, this is going to have a flange going this way, but this is going to be flanged just like this is here and weld on from the top side here. That will weld on the roll cages right here. The piece that I'm building here, I'm going to have it so it wraps around the roll cage, and this will weld at the top of it because I got to build a piece to go along the bottom of the frame rail. We'll get into that in the next video. But what I'm going to do here now is I got both of these made. I'm going to go ahead and get both of these welded into the floors and get the floors all dressed up and get this one finished up. Don't you just love welding and grinding? I got all this welded up in here, and then I turned around and I welded the other side. Then I grinded the other side, and then I come in here and I grinded this side here. Cleaned up the end here, cut the end off here. Went over, done the same thing on this one here. Welded that on the inside. In here as well, grinded all that off. Now that I got all that done, these floor pans are almost finished. All I want to do now is I want to add a little piece here. A little tab that'll come up here so I can spot weld on here. It's just a jagged edge here now. And I'm going to take an old scrap piece. There you go. Piece like that. I'm just going to fit that in there like so. Weld that on there. And trim it up. I'll do the same for both of them. And there you have it. Little tab on her there, and a little tab on her there. I cut that one a little bit short. That's fine. I'm going to go over now and do one last test fit on these here. Make sure everything's fitting good, and if I got to do any tweaking, I'll do some tweaking. And I'll have the 2 floor pans completed. And there you have it. 2 rear floor pans are completed. I got everything finished off. All I got left to do now is put some holes in them so they can be spot welded in place. And they'll be finished. And what I got to do next now is I got to build all this back section here before I put this in, because all this got to be welded to all that back there. I'm going to do all that in the next video. But that's 2 complete floor pans for the back end of it. A bit tricky because where it all dropped down. It looks uniform now. It looks like it belongs there. There was a lot of cutting, grinding, bending, figuring things out. Lots of math. But I'm happy with how it fits. In around the seams and everything, going around to the back. A little tab on the back of it now that'll be welded onto something. Same with over on that side there for the drive shaft tunnel to be welded to. And the other side. Anyway, I'm going to leave this one here. I hope the tips were good. And until next time.